Right. Now I think you have enough knowledge to start building your own vulnerability scanner. Now I know what you're thinking. I didn't teach you how to discover any type of vulnerabilities yet. Sure, I didn't even explain what a vulnerability is. Well, basically, a vulnerability is a weakness that can be used to hack the target website, the users, or get more information about the website or the users. Now, there is a number of vulnerabilities and there is a number of ways to discover and exploit them, but the general idea is the same, and that's why I want to show you how to build a generic vulnerability scanner that can be used to discover a large number of vulnerabilities. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to build the scanner, and then I'll show you how easy it is to extend this generic scanner to discover different types of vulnerabilities. See, the general steps to discover any vulnerability, regardless of what it is first of all, you need to make a sitemap. So you need to go into every possible page, and we've built something that can do that. We need to analyze this page and extract the URLs and the forms. And then we have two very important steps. The first one is to send payloads to discover the vulnerability. And the next important step is to analyze the response that we got after sending the payload and see if this website is vulnerable. So, as I said, the general steps are always the same regardless of what vulnerability we're trying to discover. And the only thing that would change is the things in red, so the payload that we send and the response that we look for. So right now and in the next few lectures, I want to build a program that can first of all make a map of the target website, extract the links and the forms, send a test payload. So we're literally just going to send the string test, and then we're just going to analyze the result that we get as is. And then I'll show you how easy it is to just write a simple method to discover a specific vulnerability, and then you'll be able to write methods for all the different types of vulnerabilities. So later on, all you'll have to do is literally just extend the base code that we're going to write. So let's go ahead and start cracking at this. And right now, I've already created a project in my PyCharm projects directory. It's called the Vulnerability Scanner, and as you can see, there is two main files. I have the scanner.py and I have the vulnerability scanner.py. The scanner.py is in here, and as you can see, it is a class in which I'm going to implement most of the code that'll do the hard work for us. Then we have the vulnerability scanner, which is going to be a very, very simple program that literally calls the class and executes the code that's implemented in it. So, as you can see, I've already created the class, and the first thing that I want to do is create my init method, which is the method that gets executed as soon as an instance of this class is created. I covered this in more details before when we spoke about object-oriented programming. So if you don't remember this, please go back and revise that lecture. So basically, we're just going to do def __ init __. And as we know, this is going to be a scanner that will scan a certain website for vulnerabilities. So I'm going to make this take a URL as an input. And I'm going to store this in a variable inside my class. So we're going to say self.targetURL is equal to URL. So now throughout all of the methods that I'm going to build in my class, I'll be able to access the URL by saying self.targetURL. Now, going back to the steps that we need to do, the first thing that we need to do, even as humans, is to go into every possible page. So basically build a sitemap of the target website or crawl the target website. And we already have a program that can do that for us. It's the crawler program that we built before. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm actually going to copy all of this code as is. And it should work. I'll just have to modify it slightly because I'm going to use it inside a class right now. So I'm gonna maximize this. And the first thing that we need to do in class methods is they have to take self as the first argument. And again, I spoke about this before, so if you don't remember any of this, please go back to the lecture where I speak about object-oriented programming. Now, looking at the extract links from, looks like everything is fine here, except the fact that we need to import the re library because it's used in here. So I'm just going to do in here, import re. So this should be okay, so I'm going to minimize it. And the next method that we need to fix now is the crawl. And you can see the first thing that's underlined in red is the extract links from. Now we were using this in a function, so we could call it like this. But right now we're using it in a class, and extract links from is a method in the class. So when we want to call it, we have to say self.the method name. The next thing that's highlighted for us is the URL parse. Again, that's a library that we haven't imported here, so I'm just going to import it. The next thing that's underlined in red is target URL in here. That references the main target URL that we start looking from. Again, that was used inside our function, so we could just access it by saying target URL. Right now in our class, our target URL is named as self.targetURL. So I just need to add self to this. And in here, this is referencing my target links list, which is the list that contains all of the links extracted from the target URL. Now, in our program, we had that defined in here, the target links. So I'll actually need to create one in here because I haven't created one, and I'm going to create it in my initializer method. So I'm going to say self.targetLinks is equal to an empty list. So all we have to do is just add self in here now, and that will reference this variable that we just created. So that's perfect now. And we'll also have to add self in here for the method that we created. And finally, when the crawl calls itself, we need to add self before that to make it call itself. Again, because that was used as a function, so we didn't need to add self, but because it is inside the method, we had to add the self before it. So that's perfect for now. We didn't really program anything new. All we did is we copy-pasted our crawler code inside the new scanner class that we created. The only new things is the instance variables and the structure of the object. So now, in my vulnerability scanner, I've already imported my scanner, which is this one right here. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say my vulnerability scanner is equal to scanner.scanner. And I should have set this as capital S because, as we know, class names should start with a capital letter. And this will take an input of the URL of my target. So let's actually create a variable. We'll call it target URL. And this is going to be Matilde in here. And we'll pass this as an input to my scanner. This will be saved in the instance variable of target URL in here. And the next thing that I want to do, I'm going to call the crawl method to make a list of all the possible links in my target website. As we know, by the end of this method, everything is going to be stored in my target links because we're appending it in here at this line. But it'll also print it on screen for us, which is pretty nice. It lets us know that everything is working properly. So right now, the vuln scanner is an instance of the scanner class. So I can say vulnscanner.crawl to call the crawl method, and I'm going to pass it again the target URL. Because as we know, this method takes a URL in which it should start crawling from. Now I know this is not very pretty. We're passing the target URL twice, and I'll address this soon, but let's test this code like this and see if it works. So I'm gonna go to my terminal, I'm already in my working directory, and I'm just gonna do Python vulnerabilityscanner.py. Now it's complaining about my constructor not taking any inputs. And the main reason is I misspelled init in here. I don't know how I achieved that. It's actually init. And now if we go down and run it again, we have a problem in line 17 in the scanner. So let's have a look again. And yeah, the problem is in here. The extract links from should only take a URL as an input. It shouldn't take self. I don't know how I put that in there. It must have been autocomplete. So let's try it again now. And perfect. As you can see, the spider is working as expected. It's making a list of all the possible links on the target website. And now all of these links are going to be stored inside my self.targetlinks, which I'll be able to access throughout all of the other methods that I'm going to implement in the next lectures.